Hello, this is the Bible in Fewer Words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 70, Deuteronomy, chapters 1 through 5. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol. Welcome to Deuteronomy.
I like saying that word. It kind of trips me up a little bit, Deuteronomy. But first, before we get started, we should remind our listeners that there's a website called the skepticsannotatedbible.com. The podcast is there, and it's there with notes, and there's an embedded link there, and pictures. We often have pictures there.
And the text that we're reading.
And so, yeah, it's kind of fun to go to the website and check that out there. So if you haven't done that yet, you should try it.
Yeah, you can find links to it on the home page on the right side. And you click on one of those links, it'll take you to a list of the episodes, and then you can click on whichever episode you'd like to listen to, and then it'll take you to that page.
All right. I guess we are starting Deuteronomy today.
Yeah, and I should mention that Deuteronomy is kind of special in terms of the books that we've covered so far. The first 5 books of the Bible are sometimes called the Torah, sometimes called the Pentateuch. And they were supposedly written by Moses. And in the last few episodes, we've been hearing about Moses has had this problem with God because he struck the rock instead of talking to it. And God was angry with him, and he's not going to let him go to the promised land, right?
Yep, he's going to die before he gets there.
He's going to die before he gets there. And he keeps saying, well, you're going to go up on that mountain, you're going to die.
Uh-huh.
Well, you'd think, now we've got a whole book of Deuteronomy to go through, you would think that he would be dying by now, right?
Yeah.
But he's not. He's not going to die until pretty much the end of Deuteronomy.
Oh, a spoiler.
Yeah, it's a spoiler. Moses is going to die. But before he dies, he's got something to say. And so all of Deuteronomy is really just one big long speech from Moses.
Okay, that sounds pretty boring.
Yeah, that's why we're covering 5 chapters today, because it's already been covered before. What Moses does is he reminisces. He tells the people, remember when this happened and when that happened and, remember when I told you that? Well, now he's going to be doing a lot of that, and we're going to say, well, you already told us that. And once in a while, I'm going to include some things that you've heard before, but I'll try to just do it when it's said in a different way, or it's providing a little bit additional information.
Okay. So this whole book is Moses' speech.
Kind of his reminiscence and his lecture to the people. Do this, don't do that.
And remember when.
And remember when. Yeah, a lot of remember whens.
Okay, so we're starting.
Okay, so this is chapter 1, verse 1. This is what Moses said to the Israelites on the east side of the Jordan River 40 years after God killed Sihon, the king of the Amorites, and Og, the king of Bashan.
So there's been a lot of killing since then.
Yeah, but this was kind of the first ones, remember?
Yeah.
They were walking along, finally heading toward the promised land, and they had to go cross their land. And he said, let us cross. And they said, no, you can't. He said, well, then we'll kill you.
Okay. God has multiplied you so that now there are as many of you as there are stars in heaven. God will make you 1,000 times as numerous as the stars. Okay, that's a lot of people.
And how many stars are there?
Carl Sagan, billions and billions.
Billions and billions. And he's going to do 1,000 times that. So there you go.
Okay. God has given you the land that is before you. Go possess it. Don't be afraid.
Okay, so that's all I'm going to include in chapter 1. I'm leaving a lot of stuff out here, but it's just more reminiscence on the part of Moses. So chapter 2. When we passed through the wilderness of Moab, God said to me, don't fight with the Moabites, because I gave their land to Lot's children.
All right, that sounds kind of new.
Not really. I think we've heard this before. What happened was, remember Lot back in Genesis?
I do.
Yeah, how can you forget?
I can't.
Yeah, Lot had that thing with his daughters, and they got pregnant. And one of their daughters had a son named Moab.
Okay.
And so that's where the Moabites came from.
Okay. And the other one, what was his son's name?
Benamin. Yeah, something like that. And he is the father of the Ammonites.
Oh.
So God's saying, don't fight with the Moabites because I gave them to Lot's children. And God seems to really like Lot for some reason.
Yeah. Doesn't he kind of fight a lot with the Ammonites as well?
Yeah, they're fighting with the Ammonites quite a bit, but they're not supposed to.
Oh, okay. The Emin used to live there, who were all as tall as the Anakim and were called giants.
Yeah, we've heard about the giants before, and we've heard about the Anakim before.
Yeah.
Emim is the first time, and I think it's about the only time that is used in the Bible, but it's referring to the same, bunch of giants.
Okay.
In the next 38 years or so, God killed all the Israelite soldiers, as he swore he'd do to them. After God killed all of our soldiers, he said to me, "Don't bother the Ammonites, because I have given them to Lot's children." The land of the Ammonites was also a land of giants, but God destroyed them.
I'm getting so confused now thinking back on what happened. It's a good thing Moses is telling us about these stories, I guess.
That's right, yeah.
Verse 30, but Sihon wouldn't let us pass because God had hardened his heart so that he could deliver him into our hands. That God is hardening people's hearts.
So that he could kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he does. So he fought against us and we killed him. His sons and all of his people. We killed everyone. Men, women, children, and babies in every city. We left no one alive.
Oh my gosh, that they would be saying that kind of in a proud way.
Yeah.
Babies. Oh.
That's all we're going to say about chapter 2.
Actually, no, there's one more line. But we didn't kill the Ammonites or any other group of people that God forbade us to kill.
Didn't want to leave that one out. Yeah.
No.
So the Ammonites and the Moabites, they're special.
Mm-hmm. Chapter 3. Then we went to Bashan, and Og fought against us. And God said, "Don't be afraid of him. I'll deliver him into your hand, and you'll kill him and all of his people, just like you did to Sihon and the Amorites."
God delivered Og into our hands, and we killed every man, woman, and child in 60 cities.
I don't know how much more of this I can read.
Og was the king of Bashan, the land of the giants. A lot of giants in this section, yeah. His bed was 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide.
Okay, mathematician, how long is that?
Well, in feet, it's about 13 and a half feet long by about 6 feet wide.
That's a supersized king size.
Yeah.
I said to Joshua, "You've seen all that God did to these 2 kings, Sihon and Og. He'll do the same to all the kingdoms that you pass through. So don't be afraid, because God will fight for you."
But God was mad at me because of you. He said to me, "Go up on the top of Pisgah and look west, north, south, and east, because you're not going over the Jordan." But encourage Joshua. He's going to inherit the land that you see. You notice here that he says that God was mad at me because of you?
Yes.
That's not true. He was mad at Moses because Moses struck the rock instead of talked to it.
Yes, that's right. But God was also mad. I mean, Moses is the one who had to, say, "All right, the people are complaining. They don't have any food."
Oh, he was mad at the people a lot. But
yes.
That isn't why Moses isn't going to the promised land.
No, you're right. That is pretty clear.
Yeah.
So this little speech here is Moses kind of defending himself.
Yeah, right. And he's blaming them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And maybe he's thinking, okay, God's listening to me. He's going to hear this, and maybe he'll change his mind like he has changed his mind in the past.
There's always a chance of that, right?
Yes.
A pretty good chance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for chapter 3.
Yeah. Chapter 4. Don't add to or take away from the commandments that I gave you. You know why? Because they are statutes forever.
Yeah.
That was just my little addition there.
That's right. It's true.
Take heed not to make any graven image of anything, the likeness of a man or a woman, beast or fowl, creeping thing or fish, because God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. So God wasn't into art, I guess.
No, I think it's not much art you can do, right? Because most of art is making images of things.
Yes.
A lot of them are animals and people.
But I think a person could do still art. Is that what we call that? Still
life.
Still life, yes.
Yeah.
When you
Just have a bowl of fruit.
A bowl of fruit and try to draw that.
Yeah, you might be able to do that. But you can't do a fish, so the little fish symbol that Christians use shouldn't be allowed.
Aha, good thinking.
Yeah. And then we've got a little bit here about the cities of refuge, which we've heard about before, but I thought I'd throw it in. Moses established 3 cities of refuge. These cities were safe places for accidental killers.
Yeah. So they're just all filled with killers.
Yeah, I guess that's all. The only people that live there are killers, accidental killers.
And they
Must
only
be a
live.
rough place to live.
Yeah, they only live as long as the priest lives.
Right, yeah. Right.
That is overseeing them, I guess.
That's what we learned back in Numbers somewhere.
Yeah. And, it seems to me if you've got all these accidental killers,
right,
that, there might be some killing going on in cities of refuge there.
Yeah, but they can't leave, because if they do, then the Revenger of Blood will get them. Yeah.
When we say that, Revenger of Blood, I think of like the superheroes, or I could see that Revenger of Blood.
Yeah, it's not, though. It's just just the family members of people that were killed, I think.
Not a comic book cover.
No.
All right, and then there's chapter 5.
Yeah, which is the 10 Commandments again. And it's pretty much the same commandments that we got back in Exodus 20. Mm-hmm. So I'm leaving them out here.
Oh, my goodness. So that's it.
So yeah, we're done. We're done with the first 5 chapters of Deuteronomy.
Well, that wasn't as boring as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it exciting.
Sure.
I want to remind our listeners that Martin Watkinson plays the music at the beginning and at the end. Well, not live every day, but he has given us permission to use it. Thanks, Martin. And we hope you join us next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.